So you want to gain a better understanding of Rick's perks from one of the best players in MultiVersus? Well, you're in the right place. I'm going to show off 3 different builds for Rick that each have its own unique playstyle. Be sure to subscribe if you learned something and would like to stick around on the channel for more. Let's get into it. Rick has 3 signature perks that each take different parts of his kit and either enhances it or gives them different properties. Ranking the usefulness of these 3 perks will go in this order, but there is definitely room for argument that I'd love to see in the comment section. This is the perk that I believe to be the best and the one that I personally run on Rick 99% of the time. The way it works is simple. Rick charges his whip attack and the last hit of the whip pulls the enemy down towards where the whip was cast. This is great for extending combos and catching dodges. It's also capable of doing very cool stuff like gimping opponents trying to spike you by using the Airwalker perk. This is a pretty controversial perk amongst Rick players, and I get a lot of overzealous comments saying how terrible it is, but that's neither here nor there. The main reason that players tend to have an issue with this is because the whip, when it's charged, does a lot of knockback, and it doesn't really make sense to essentially nerf it by sending them down instead of up. I acknowledge this fact, but this seems to be an issue with the Rick player and not the perk itself. By the time an opponent is going to be conditioned enough to even be hit by the whip, I've likely already had a read on them and will get the kill either way. An important thing to know about this perk is the whip only has to be partially charged for the effect to occur. This is another fairly good perk that Rick has that I personally don't use enough. Upon casting a portal, allies that pass through it, including Meeseeks, ignite enemies with their next melee attack. Any ally projectiles that pass through the portal inflict ignite, and enemies passing through the portal are ignited as well. On paper, this perk is great for racking up damage on your opponents, but I don't find it very practical with how I play the game personally. If you're interested in playing Rick as a true mage, then this is great and is definitely a viable option for Rick. Now for the part of the video that you were probably waiting on, the newly reintroduced perk, Bit of a Stickler, Meeseeks. In the beta, this perk made attacks landed by Meeseeks to cause longer hit stun. If you know anything about Rick, then you know that this perk would be absolutely broken if it were reintroduced like it was in the beta. So they took it out, changed it, and gave it back to us. The perk now gives Meeseeks additional damage to opponents already in hit stun. This perk is very setup dependent and is not worth using in my humble opinion, but I'd love to be proven wrong. One case that I found for using it is the Golf Club Meeseeks and Rick Sayre, launching them into it. This will send the opponent to Meeseeks while in hit stun, causing it to do an attack, leading to more damage through the perk. You can get pretty cool extensions off of it, and I'd love to see if you guys have found anything better with this perk. Now for the builds. This is my general build for racking up damage by conditioning my opponent and getting reads. If you've seen in a Chromix video, I was likely using this build. We go Snowball for the additional 7% damage, Too Fast to Block to destroy any armor that we may deal with, and Pugilist for additional damage. This build is great for entry-level Rick players because he has all of the tools that he needs to do well in every scenario. Rick has lack of any armor or armor-breaking moves, so Too Fast to Block is a great option for that due to the range and coverage of his slide attack. This build is for those of you who love the Mage playstyle and want to lean into it all the way. We're using Squanching Pyrotechnics, that's Flammable Dock, Speed Force Assist, and Pugilist. That's Flammable Dock goes hand in hand with Rick's signature perk, giving Rick access to crazy amounts of damage build up if you can land your laser shots consistently. Speed Force Assist is pretty important to this build as well, to position yourself in optimal ways to take the least amount of damage while pumping out tons of projectiles. The final build for today is going to be for those of you who just love going for clips and just like to toy with your opponents. We have Bit of a Stickler Meeseeks as well as Snowball, Airwalker, and Pugilist. Bit of a Stickler Meeseeks is used alongside Airwalker to make really good conversions into ladder combos. The full extent of this new perk hasn't been discovered yet, but I'm sure there are crazy ladders that you can do with the additional damage buildup. If you found any value in this video, I encourage you to stick around as we're on the road to 500 subscribers and we're a very chill community. Thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.